What rhymes
I
with
had
a
something I
lie?
was going to ask you straight off the bat, Jay, and I've already forgotten it.
Well,
Oh,
come on,
nee.
Nick. What you doing?
Well, last week or the week before was the fact that I played Pokemon and waited like 54 minutes until I told everyone that I tried Pokemon again, even though I built it up a lot. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
that's
You know
true.
what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm still fingering around with this mic as well, which is
Great.
probably not doing anything. I'm trying to get it in a good place, you know, Jay. I'm trying to get. There we go. That'll do.
There
How
we
are
are.
you, Jay?
I'm alright. Yeah, I'm excited
About this week's show.
about tomorrow.
What's happening tomorrow, Jay?
Tiny
At the time
Tina's
of
coming up
recording. Tiny
tomorrow.
Tina's coming out. TTW.
TTW. Yeah,
Very exciting time. I
extremely
feel
exciting.
like, I feel like a lot of games have actually genuinely. I would argue more games in spring this year than almost any spring before it has come out. Maybe 2017 competes with that, but anyway, a lot of games have come out this spring, Jay, and I'll talk about one later that I played. But I feel like really, me and you've been waiting for Tiny Tina as the kind of prime, you know, like, oh, okay, our game's here now, you know, so it's quite nice to have it launch finally. Everyone else seems to have got their fill of Kirby and Elden Ring and Dying Light 2 and all this
Kirby's
other
getting really
rubbish.
good reviews, by the way.
I know, I saw. I've been hearing
I
some
don't think
chat
I've seen a
about it.
single one below 9.
Are you interested in that?
To a degree. I don't think I'd buy it, but I'd definitely watch someone play through it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it looks
I
fun.
feel like Nintendo games are much more, apart from Pokemon, I'd say, I feel like Nintendo games are much more kind of, you know, you play them rather than watch them almost. Like, I feel like watching, okay, that's not true because I love watching Zelda speedruns, but I would struggle to watch someone play through Super Mario Odyssey rather than play it myself, personally.
I guess so. I feel like there's going to be a bunch of streamers who are going to be playing Kirby. So it's not
Sure.
out yet, is it, or is it?
I don't know, mate.
I guess it must be. I guess well, either it comes out
I
like
don't know.
around the same time as Tiny Tina, which is odd because they're probably going to do not as good because of that. But
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it came out tomorrow, because if that's the case, then that comes out with Tiny Tina, with Ghostwire Tokyo as well.
yeah, oh yeah, I forgot about Ghostwire. Yeah, that's true.
Did you see the reviews on that, Jay?
I haven't, no, deliberately. I tend to. What I'll do is I'll save the review video to my watch later just to remind myself that the game exists, and then I'll delete it once I've not don't really give a anymore.
Right, okay. So, here's what I was going to ask you, Jay.
Yep.
I watched Angry Joe do a video on Babylon's Fall last week.
Oh
The
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Platinum... Yeah. And I thought, you know what? Jay would love this game.
Well, I've definitely had my eye on it for like a while. But it's awful. I mean, it's like the graphics are like actually bad.
But you love bad games.
I do, yeah. No, I think I'll skip out on this one though. This is one of Square Enix's
This is even below like
this is
Jay's.
below my standard, and my standards are pretty low a lot of the time.
No. That's not what I meant. I just meant that the games you love end up being the games that a lot of other people
Yes,
don't like.
okay. It's even true with like TV shows and movies. Like most of the movies that I like, people hate, or like are widely hated by like. Let's say there's like a group of like a fandom.
Yeah.
Let's say there's 10 movies in a fandom, and like the 5th one is terrible. It's probably my favorite one. Like that's yeah.
Like Thor: Dark World, right?
Yes, I like Thor: Dark World.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I probably don't. I like it probably for different reasons as to why other people may or may not like it. So
Okay.
I don't know. I just think it's different. I feel like most of why I enjoy a lot of stuff is just like not because I want to be devil's advocate, but I just so happen to become the devil's advocate just through chance.
Sure.
You know, I feel like if I had another like you know how we have aliases. Like you're the night owl, I'm the Goldilocks gamer. I feel like I'm also the devil's advocate. It's just like, which also kind of plays into the whole Goldilocks thing because it's just like in the middle. Like there's no sort of like right or wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just that playing with the extremes.
I would argue that the hyperbolicness or hyperbole
Ooh,
of the
that's the word.
internet definitely makes the bad even worse. You know, like people despise FF13. It's like, well, actually, let's be honest here, guys.
Do
There's
they?
a big fan base that probably really likes it, like me and Jay.
I was actually thinking about this the other day. It might have even been yesterday. I was like, I think Final Fantasy 13 is my favorite game of all time.
Wow.
I think it is. I'd have to remind myself of what else I played, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's my favorite game of all time.
Wow. Okay. What? No, I thought Street Fighter 4 was.
No.
No.
Doesn't even come close.
Right.
I may have played one more than the other, but yeah, it doesn't come close.
Oh, okay. Right.
I don't think Street Fighter 4 even breaks the top 10, like the top 20 or 30.
Isn't that funny that one of your most played games doesn't break the top, whatever? That's interesting. That's interesting.
I need to make a definitive list. So bad.
Well, don't worry.
We need to do it at some point, yeah.
We've got time.
Thing is, it changes, like, depending on the hour.
Dude, I think that with everything though, like I feel like favorite movies change all the time. Favorite TV well, okay, no, they don't for me, but favorite TV shows change all. You know what I mean? Like stuff changes. All
Plus,
the time,
there's like there's always constant new releases, so it's kind of like, oh, shall I add this to the repertoire? The portfolio, whatever it might be.
Exactly. All right, Jay. Well, let's
go
right in.
Yeah.
Everyone who hasn't realised already, this is a video game podcast with me, Nick, the Night Owl, and Jay, the Goldilocks Gamer, now Devil's Advocate, sorry. And we're really excited because a big game's coming out tomorrow, if you follow video games. It's called, well, I mean, we're excited for it. I think it's a fairly big release. It's called Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
Yes, a.k.a. Borderlands 3.5.
Yes, Jay. Yes, Jay.
It's not 4. Jay. It's not Borderlands 4.
It's not 4.
It's not Borderlands. 4. It's the bridge. Well, actually, technically, it's Borderlands 2.5. Because the story takes place right after 2.
Oh shit! I thought
because
it was,
I don't know if you remember this, but Tiny Tina was older in Borderlands 3, like a lot older.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Because I think she's 13 in Borderlands 2. But I want to say she's either 18 or slightly older in Borderlands 3, so there's like a 5-year difference. But this happens directly after Borderlands 2.
Oh, so this sounds like a genuine continuation of Assault on Dragon's Keep then?
It is. It's exactly that.
Oh, right. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So we're really excited. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about as well this week on the news, and I'm quite excited to talk to Joe about a game as well.
You were right about Kirby, by the way. That is coming out tomorrow.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Same day.
know, mate.
Same day.
Know. Oh,
yeah.
Mental day tomorrow, guys.
I know.
Mental day. We've got Ghostwire Tokyo, we've got Tiny Tina, and we've got Kirby. So
I'm actually thinking about playing Ghostwire. If you said, mention the game, but apparently there's some input lag on the game already, which is odd.
Well, I don't want to put too many thoughts in your mind, Jay, but I haven't heard incredible things about it.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll wait and see. We'll see where we are. I mean, that's again one of those games that I'll probably grab in a sale in about 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
To be fair, mate, I think that game's going to be heavy on sale soon. I really do. I don't
know. We'll see.
All right.
I didn't see the review, so obviously that'll gauge.
Well, hey,
where we're at.
Do reviews even matter, right? Because Deathloop reviewed well, and that's on sale now.
True. So, I've seen it for like half price for most of this year.
Or you can beat Guardians of the Galaxy and just come on Game Pass.
Yeah,
like 3 months
don't even. Dude, I'm pissed. Buddy,
what's that?
Godfall? It's coming to bloody Xbox, isn't it?
What, on Game Pass?
I don't think it's on Game Pass, but it's coming to Xbox. It was supposed to come to Xbox August 2020.
Wow.
Or like August 2021, something like that. It was supposed to come out like a year ago, basically.
What's taking so long?
I don't know. Maybe they just didn't think that it was going to sell well or something. I don't know.
Oh.
But I bought it on PlayStation, didn't I? Sometime last year. No, I still haven't. It's like one of those ones like Outriders where I sort of started it and then never finished it. But I finished Outriders now, so I'll come back to it.
Yeah, you did. All right, Jay. Why does Nick Fury wear an eye patch in the MCU?
I hate this. I genuinely am pissed off with what they did with this. It's annoying. Okay. I hate it. But yes, I know.
It's a requirement of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No.
He was scratched by a flirkin. He doesn't wear an eye patch, or he likes the way it looks.
B.
It is
bloody flirkin. Oh, I hate it so much.
So what's the original thing?
I don't know if we ever actually knew the original one.
Oh right.
It's a
Okay.
good question. But I
So
think
what's
the
wrong with
reason
this
why I hate it
flirking?
is because it was from Captain Marvel. And the
Oh.
Flurkin is based from a more recent Captain Marvel comic that I just despise.
Oh, I didn't realise. So you see him lose his thing in Captain Marvel, do you?
Yeah, I think so. I think you
Jay's
don't
tried to
see it,
block
you
out the
don't like
films in
see
his
it happen.
mind.
I don't think. I think you just sort of like you see the
Get
prelude
the
to it, and then you sort of
implication.
like hear a noise of him getting scratched, and then you sort of like, oh, okay, that's how he got his eye scratched.
Right.
In the
Okay.
90s.
You need
Oh,
to keep
Jesus
both
Christ.
eyes open. Good moment. Good moment. Yeah, fair enough. Sorry, I just interrupted you there, Jay.
I got
Mate,
it. I'm glad
tell
that
you.
one was like a really obvious one, annoyingly.
Yeah, now I was like, oh, Jay might not know this, but
Really?
yeah,
Oh, come
fair
on.
play.
No, that's a good one. I like that.
Fair play.
Okay.
All right, Jay, let's get right into it, dude.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
go straight to PasTURE because the other thing we want to talk about from your side. Oh yeah, Jay, can you please take us to topic one screen? The other thing that we want to talk about, or you want to talk about, I'm really eager to talk to you about.
I can't
So let's
remember
hit
now.
PasTUREs. Let's hit
Sure.
PasTUREs. So PasTUREs, everyone, basically just Jay's weekly Pokemon update. Jay, if you say what you got to say, but I would like to start going back to Pokemon again because we started that and we didn't carry on. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So yeah, where are you at with Sword and Shield, and then what?
Oh,
So
I
I don't
see.
know. So I think last time we talked about maybe
Alpha,
our experiences
Sapphire.
with. Yeah, no. Well, actually, I think we just started at the first gen, right? You know what I mean? And then
Sure, sure,
just
sure.
sort of went from there. But anyway, where are you up to on Sword and Shield?
Yeah, I've just needed something to play up until Tiny Tina, so I've just started like a new story on Sword and Shield, basically.
J-
I don't know what it is
okay.
about Pokemon games, but like the first half of Pokemon games is just so enjoyable. Just to like watch your Pokemon level up and evolve.
Mm.
Like early game, it's just fun to do. I've
So
done it
why not go
like
back and finish?
so. I've probably done it like just on Sword and Shield alone. I think I've got 8 different playthroughs, and I have them all noted down. It actually might be worth showing you. Hang on.
Hold on, what, of you just starting the game?
So hang on, I don't know if you can see this.
For
So
audio listeners, Jay's showing me the list on his
So
phone.
Pokemon Sword, and then each of the playthroughs for the Sword, and like what that entails, and then Pokemon Shield, and then all 4 playthroughs. So depending
Oh
on
my god.
yeah, so like my first ever playthrough is just says just fun, which is like my main playthrough,
Very good.
and then I've got another one that has like a bunch of Pokemon that are like specific to that run, and then another one, another one, another one, another one. So what I'll do is I'll check this and be like,
Oh,
am I bored of that run? I'll just reset it and do another one. So I think I might have actually
wow.
played through Pokemon Sword and Shield probably 8 to 12 times over the last
Right.
3 or so years.
Jay, that's a lot. Like if you were like Nick, I've played through a game 8 times, I would say, Jay, that's gotta be one of your
Yeah,
top
that's
three games of all time.
that's roughly 25 hours per playthrough. So that's 250, roughly 250 hours just on Pokemon Sword and Shield.
I feel like that I would consider that one of your
It's
top
like
five games of all
slightly
time.
more, I guess, depending on how you put it. But yeah, that's a lot. But I think it's because like whenever it's weird, I'll like play Sword and Shield a lot for like a month, and then I won't play it for like 3 or 4 months. I'll come back to it and be like, "Oh, this game's so good. Why am I not playing this?" And then I'll play it again. That's currently where I'm at. I'm currently at the stage of like, "Oh, I forgot how good this game was."
Jeez.
It just looks
Can
good
you
to me. I don't know.
can you see and hear me, by the way, dude? Because I feel like
Yeah,
I think your laptop might be okay. All right.
it's
All
actually
good.
its lowest CPU that I've had in a while. So
Oh, that's weird. Maybe it's my internet then. Hold on.
maybe I'm currently sitting at a comfortable 18 to 20 CPU, and it's usually a lot higher than that. So
Okay, got you.
yeah, I'm all good
Leave it
over
with
here.
me. Leave it with me.
You are a little bit
Sorry about
quiet, but that I don't know.
that. Okay. So yeah. So if you that just makes me think you love this game, like top five, if you've played it that much.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But I think it's just because it's the most recent one. It's also probably the best looking one, in quotes.
Right. Right.
I actually think it's. I think because it
What
has
is?
so many
Hold on a minute. Hold
new
on a minute.
Pokemon in it, it's just fun to use new Pokemon.
Fair, I get that.
That's like
So
another
is it
big
better
thing.
looking than Arceus or Arceus?
I don't think so.
But like
No.
they're similar. They're
It's
similar.
just like because I've also been playing a lot of like the older ones, like the sort of like Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby type ones, going from like those graphics to these graphics is just like a big jump to me
Yeah.
in Pokemon.
Yeah.
So it's just nice to like experience it all. Like you forget how smooth and nice Pokemon Sword and Shield looks, and it kind of just like it's almost like reading a book for the first time. But I've done it 12 times now.
So, are there any that you haven't completed at all or finished even? Or
Yeah, I've probably
you know,
out of the 12, I've probably completed 7, and then I'm probably either halfway or a little close, or I'm like close to the end on the other 6 or so, 5
so
or so.
why not go back and finish one of the other ones? Well, why go
Yeah,
back
I'll
to
usually
Sword
just
Shield?
like that's the thing, because Pokemon's so easy to jump in and out of. I'll just get to the point where I get bored, and then I'll just start a new one if I want to start a new one. You know, I'll usually just like do a run where I use Pokemon that I haven't ever used before, just to sort of like get a feel for whether I like using that Pokemon or not. You know,
Sure.
I tend to each run I tend to have like some similar and some not the same, just to sort of like see what it's like. I don't know, bit of it's almost like creating a new character with like a different build. So it's like just like playing a different build essentially.
Sure. No, I get that.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So let's go back in Pokemon time, Jay.
Yes, please.
So I think last time we talked about this, you basically just explained to me the basics of we got a blue and a red.
Yeah.
No, sorry, a green and a red in Japan.
Yeah.
And then we got a blue and red everywhere else, basically. And then we got a yellow.
Sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they were all Game Boy Color. That's where Pokemon started.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is really quite recent when you think about it, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, for such a big...
yeah, it was like 96 was when the first game came out.
But see, for such a big franchise, that's quite recent, isn't it?
That's,
Don't you think?
technically, I think me and Pokemon share roughly the same birthday.
Ooh.
I'm actually going to look that. I need to check when Red and Green came out. It came out in 96 in Japan. It was 27th of February 96. So I'm technically just slightly older than Pokemon, and you're just slightly younger than Pokemon.
Okay.
It's probably like somewhere in the middle between my birthday and yours, basically.
Cool.
But it didn't actually come over to Europe until 1999. It came out 3 years later in Europe. It was 98 in America, and then 99 in Europe. So most of Europe, like, it took them 3 years to ever experience the first Pokemon game. You know.
Jay, do you know any reason why it is green over there, but then they turn it to blue in Europe and America?
It's a good question. No, I don't know the reason why. It would be cool I'll have to look into that, but I think it was maybe to do with the Pokemon, right? It was like I think maybe Blastoise maybe was slightly more popular.
Right.
So they just made the blue rather than the green.
What about yellow? Is yellow very much the definitive, like Emerald's the definitive Alpha and Sapphire?
Yeah.
Is yellow the
definitive? Yellow is basically like red and blue or red and green, but like the one that had slight tweaks to it to make it the best, I guess. And also because Pikachu became so popular, they sort of thought, right, we'll slap Pikachu on it, call it a new game, when really it's just like the same game. It's just a Pikachu version of it, essentially.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember playing a lot of either red or blue, but ultimately I actually found it's so weird, isn't it? I found Alpha Sapphire and not Alpha Sapphire, sorry. I found Sapphire Original and Leaf Green a lot better to look at and play than even red and blue, even though they're not that far apart from each other.
They're incredibly far apart. What do you mean?
Are they?
Yes.
Are they?
Bloody, the first Pokemon game didn't have colour.
Right.
It was just black and white. It was just black and white, but it was like playing, one of them like really old Game Boy games. It was just like
yeah.
Do you not know about Pokemon? Twitch plays Pokemon.
No. So
there's a thing where Twitch will set up like a bot to have it so Twitch chat controls a game. I think they've done it with Elden Ring recently. But basically, like chat can type in left, up, down, right, swing, attack, block, dodge, all this kind of stuff. and it'll sort of every couple of seconds there'll be like a vote, like a algorithm that will take the vote of the most said thing in the last like second, and it'll do that action. And they did it with Pokemon a few years ago, and they went through the whole entirety, I think, of Pokemon Yellow or Pokemon Red or Blue, one of the first ones. And it was like one of the biggest Pokemon things ever. And I think it actually really helped with the sales of Pokemon at the time, because like so many people, like literally hundreds of thousands of people watched it.
Wow.
And I think since then a bunch of memes have been created about like the names of the Pokemon and stuff. It's kind of insane.
Dude, I am absolutely checking that out later.
It's really cool. It's really
cool,
fun.
Man.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch
cool.
at the time. I didn't catch all of it, but I catch the majority of it. You know, like the most important bits, like the beginning and the end, basically.
So, what's your experience with the originals? Did you have a Game Boy Color, and then did you play one of these
I think I played Yellow. I don't think I played Red or Blue.
Okay. Did you play it on the GBA probs, or?
No, I think I had a Game Boy Color. Yeah, like I have no idea where it is now. Could not tell you, but
Dude, Game Boy Color is an interesting one because me and Al never had one. I always see it as quite a rare commodity, you know, like all Game Boy Color. But obviously, I guess it wasn't even as good as the GBA.
Thing is, the Game Boy Color obviously like wasn't the original Game Boy. It was one that came after, but it still played the original Game Boy games, but they just weren't in color this time. I think the only difference was it had a slight green tinge in the background.
Right.
So it made it look like there was like a green color. That was about it, but something like that at least. Anyway, I'm trying to remember what the first game that was actually in color. I think it was Ruby and Sapphire. I don't think Gold and Silver. Oh no, it was. Yeah, I'm not looking. Yeah, Gold and Silver was in gold.
Did you play Silver or Gold at all?
I played Crystal. Which is odd because the first two Pokemon I ever played were the definitive editions of both. So it was Yellow and Crystal.
Nice.
Which is really odd.
Do you have fond memories of Crystal? Because obviously I have no memories of that second generation, which I'm.
Gen 2 is such a it's a bit of a mystical being when it comes to Pokemon fans, because I think there's a general consensus that Gen 2 is one of the worst or one of the best gens there is. Like it was bad because I think it had no Johto Pokemon in it, which was Gen 1 Pokemon or Gen 2 Pokemon, I can't even remember. Or it had none of the gym leaders had Johto Pokemon, which was like a big thing. It was like, why have a game set in Johto if you're not even going to use any of the Johto Pokemon? And then I think because of Lugia, like Lugia was probably one of the most popular Pokemon at the time. So it's sort of like there's a game with Lugia in it. It's kind of insane, right? You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, I really don't have.
Did they not originate? Did that Pokemon not originate in that game?
Yeah, no, it did. Yeah.
Oh right.
So from the game, it became like insanely popular, and then it sort of became like since then it's become known as being the game that had Lugia in it. You know.
Right.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I'm actually like I have a Game Boy emulator on my laptop, and I've got Heart Gold and Soul Silver on here, so I'm like tempted to like do a playthrough at some point.
Oh my god!
So that'll probably be one of the other things I do at some point.
You need to talk to me about that.
Yeah, I've started it, but I've like literally done like the first 10 minutes again. I've just picked my starter and been like, right, okay, that'll do, and then I'll just play it properly later.
Fair.
Yeah.
Jet, are you okay if we move on to your second half of your topic?
Sure. What was my second half? I can't remember now.
Guys,
I like this because I get surprised every time.
I'm just gonna set this up quick. I'm gonna hijack you, Jet. I'm gonna hijack you.
Please do.
I had a certain impression of this game, Jay, and it was we ain't seen this game till 2023, which I stand by, and like I'll be excited about it when I see it, right? Hogwarts Legacy, Jay.
Oh, that was the other part. Yeah, so right after the podcast last week.
Right.
Literally, like what, an hour after we finished, or maybe, or like a half an hour after we finished.
Yeah.
I messaged you saying, "Yo, the Hogwarts Legacy State of Play, 9 p.m. Are you watching?" You were like, "Yeah, I'm in." So we both watched that. We didn't really speak too much about it. We were like, you know, this game looks hype or whatever. But yeah, we've now got a release date, right? It's coming out holiday this year.
It ain't coming out this year, Jay. You know what I mean?
I think it is. I think it's been in development longer than we think.
I think you're right.
It looks pretty ready to me, honestly.
Well, Jay, let's just call a spade here, right?
Okay.
This is what I'm gonna say about this game, Jay, right? Everyone's like, oh my god, this game looks amazing. And I agree, Jay. I was proven wrong. I think this game looks great, and I want to buy it. My point to you, Jay, why are we so fucking surprised that a single player, or seemingly single player, RPG set in the Harry Potter world looks
Pre-Harry
that good?
Potter too, yeah.
Well, pre-Harry Potter.
It's like 1800s.
It frustrates me that it's taken this long to get a game like this, Jay, in the Harry Potter world.
think,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
Harry Potter is one of those things where it needed the time taken on it to
And the money.
perfect it. I also obviously we watched State of Play, right? The developers seemed extremely in and dedicated to making sure this game was as Harry Potter as possible, basically.
100%.
And they really they've taken the time to get all the proper details in there and references and stuff. So I think that's what it needed. Like Warner Brothers probably had an idea of a game like this probably for like over a decade and went,
yeah,
well, nobody that we've talked to about making this game seems interested enough or like willing enough to be, or even like fans enough to make a good enough game for us, or maybe their ideas weren't good enough, or maybe the technology wasn't quite there yet. And I feel like because this new generation is out, that Warner Brothers probably went, right, as long as we release this on next gen, it's probably going to be good enough for our standards, and as long as we have the right developer who will make a good enough game and we're happy with the direction they take it in, then it'll be fine, you know. So I think that's why. I think they took their time, but it needed it, because if had they released this kind of game 2016, like a sort of like, you know, previous gen sort of like half-assed thing, it just like it would have not done, like it probably would have done fine, but I feel like it has the chance to do better now than it would have done then. I think it would have been sort of almost pushed to the wayside, you know. It would have got lost in the other amazing releases of the time.
No, that makes sense. I'll go on a bit of a rant later about licensed games and stuff, but I've got to say, Jay, this game does look really good, and like you say, for me, if they could, I think I text you, right, because we were both like, yeah, this game looks dope.
Yeah, and I got goosebumps. Like, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
bringing back the nostalgia.
Yeah, it was like, dude, oh wow, look, that's what a game's supposed to look like.
The best bit of the trailer was like the sorting hat and seeing the dorm rooms. I was like, oh the common rooms. Oh my god! And this is I think this is actually the first time in Harry Potter like history we've seen the Hufflepuff common rooms.
Yeah.
I think we've only ever seen Slytherin, Gryffindor, and potentially Ravenclaw. I'm not even sure if we did, but I like how they talked about that in the thing, that in the dev diary they were like, they want to make it like feel like a Hufflepuff place. Like Hufflepuff is sort of known as being like the softest, I guess, or like they're almost like the sort of like the cutesy type house, but it's kind of like, you know, I'm sure they've got some sort of, you know, dark side thing going on, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what I'm going to be in. You know what I'm going to be in.
Slytherin.
Yes. Every day. Every time.
What do you think I'm going to be in, Jay?
Probably Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Like a loser. Gryffindor.
100%.
Dude, mainstream.
Jay, for me, it's all about sticking the landing here. I think the game looks great, but we've waited this long. Let's just get it nice and polished, because, Jay, this game can absolutely sell over 10 million copies if they get it right. 110%. You know what I mean? 100%.
I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to say it's going to sell between 6 and 8.
I like
first
it.
week.
I like it.
For either weekend or first week, it'll be between 6 to 8 mil.
Did you think it? I thought it needed some polish from the trailer.
Oh yeah, 100%. It still needs that extra between now and then to be able to like finish some stuff off. 100%. But I think they've definitely, like as you say, they've jumped. It's just all about getting the tricks in the air between now and then landing it properly. You know, if we want to use analogies between now and then, we need to see a couple more little tidbits here and there to sort of see how things are going. You know, release and you know, progress on the game, and then once it comes out, I think because it's holiday this year, right? So like holiday is always a bit of a interesting time to release a game.
I always think if they say holiday, they mean December, because they want as much time as possible.
Yeah, I think December.
I personally think it's going to launch March next year. Personally.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good shout, to be honest. I'm just thinking they might want to release it around holiday, because there's obviously going to be like changing seasons in the game, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be like a Christmassy aspect to it at some point. So it's kind of like it makes sense to release it on an actual holiday.
Didn't the Harry Potter films come out in November? Is that right?
Yeah, they were all
rings a bell?
November releases. I remember going to see them for my birthday. Actually, I actually might be lying. I think the last movie came out in July.
Boom.
Because I remember, I know the exact day I went to go see it. The last day of high school.
Yeah.
I saw it that day. I remember, like, we finished school and I was like, right, I'm off to the cinema. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm going. That was it. I mean, I think it was like July, like 17th or 19th or something like that. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Something like that.
Again.
Yeah.
So, Jay, what were you surprised by how good the game looked? Because I know you were pretty.
Yeah, I was kind of like, there's definitely like, I'm so bad with this, but like, there's definitely like aspects where I'm like, that could have been better. Like, that could have been different. I'd much rather that the story had been this kind of way rather than that kind of way. Like, there's like a detail of like you're starting as like a 5th year, and you're almost like a not like an exchange student, but you kind of are. You just sort of like appeared out of nowhere.
Right.
And you didn't start when you were 10. Like, that's just odd to me. So I'm kind of a bit annoyed that the game isn't just like create a character, start from year 1, work your way to the end. Like, I would have loved to them to have made a trilogy of games. The first 2 games is year 1 and 2. Second game is 3 and 4, and then I think 5 and 6. Is there a 6 years in Hogwarts?
7, I think. No, just 6.
I think there's 6, and then the last game would be the last amount of years you were there, and then it would always be your character that saved. You could like save the game, and your save would transfer over to the next game.
Like a Mass
Like that
Effect.
was my that was my like ultimate thing in my head of like, I want it to be a Harry Potter RPG. You go through the entirety of Hogwarts, but the start of the game is you're at home and you receive your letter, and that's like the first thing that happens. Like that's like the first mission. You have to go receive your letter. And maybe there's some sort of story about like you can choose like your backstory, like you came from either a wealthy family, a Muggle family, a not so Muggle family, like a wizarding family, like a Weasley type family. Like, can you just imagine that? How cool that would be to be able to have all that as like experience that as like someone who grew up with Harry Potter. But instead, we've been given like a 1 game, and you're halfway through the school, or maybe like 3/4 of the way through the school time you're supposed to be there, and that's it. It's kind of like, oh, okay. And so they didn't go like the full route, but they went like the about as good as we're gonna get, I guess, for now route. I'm a little bit like annoyed at like they could have done more, but I think they're just
they can always do more,
this
though,
might
you know
I was gonna say this might just be a test. This would be good if this was like a test, and then later on they'll do one like in like the modern day where it'll be right. You are now a Hogwarts student, but you're 10 years old in like 2025. Right, like let's say a game comes out in 2025. There's a Harry Potter game that is what I just said. There's 3 games that come out over the next 10 years or so, and they're all this trilogy of games where you start out, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, or whatever. Like, I feel like this is just like to see what the interest level is and how much they can actually make from a Harry Potter game. I think that's kind of where we're at right now.
For sure, like I think they're like, okay, all right, we'll put our money where our mouth is. We'll give them a lot of time, a lot of money, and we'll make this massive game, and we'll see how much it sells.
Yeah, and let's say it sells like 10 mil. I think we're almost guaranteed to get another one in the next 5 to 6 years.
For sure. Jay, I want to make 2 quick points here because I know it's your topic.
Well, you can say what you want.
One, I've forgotten that point.
Pog.
Going to go to the other point. 1. Oh, okay, yeah, that's the point. First of all, why? I think I already said this last week, or I said this to you, right?
Yeah.
Why is it taking so long to make games that we really want to play? Like, the Hogwarts Legacy looks great. Spider-Man on PS4 sold really well. It's like it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what sort of games you want to play. It really doesn't. Make a Lord of the Rings RPG. That'll sell well. Yeah. Obviously, because we want it. Second point. Sorry, did you want to say something?
No, that's good. Keep going. No.
Second point. Jay, looking at a game like this and the game I'm going to talk about later, it really makes me think, Jay, that actually it's not me, it is the games industry, because I keep thinking because I could tell you, right, I'm like, I don't really care about multiplayer games as much anymore, and I don't care about all these games like Outriders and For Honor and Rainbow Six Siege and all of these different types of games, right? I just don't care about them.
Oh, okay.
And I kept thinking it was me, It's not me, Jay. It's the games, bro. It is 100% the games. Like when I see a live service game or whatever, I'm like, what's the point? Everything's so spread out and thin and wafer pointless, and like COD multiplayer. The reason I don't play it is because there's like 15 prestiges, 65 ranks, and bare loads of microtransactions. And I just want to play a game which I buy or play on Game Pass, and I finish it in 30 to 50 hours, and it's a fulfilling experience, and I really liked it. You know what I mean?
Okay. I guess that the comparison I can make is that these sort of like games of service, like what you say is like thin, spread out games, is almost like the fast food of the gaming industry, right? Like it's quick, it's easy, but you kind of feel a bit gross after you've done it, right? And it's not good for you. Like ultimately, it will destroy your mind. But it's good on the short term, it's just fine. And then, like you said, like these sort of like really well made, thought out, amazing stories, amazing gameplay, like 10 out of 10 games are always going to be so much more fulfilling. But something that lasts that long isn't always going to be like the sort of like the thin, spread out fast food stuff. Isn't going to like feel good ultimately. But the shorter something is, when it's got good quality but a small amount of it, like everything in moderation, is going to be more fulfilling because it's going to it's going to feel good for that short amount of time. But if you had that all the time, it wouldn't be special anymore, right? So I feel like that's kind of like what that is about. Like a Final Fantasy, you're going to get one, I don't know what, like every 6 years or so, maybe. Maybe somewhere around that ballpark. And that's part of the reason why it's so special, is because you're not going to get it all the time. And then when it does come back, it's had so much time to gestate and like have all this care taken of it, and it's kind of like it's been taken care of, it's been looked after and made with like such care and love and passion that it's going to be amazing. But like they can spew out these really quick kind of like service games, and it's kind of like there wasn't much. I mean, there was probably a fair amount of care taken with it because you need a certain amount to make a game. But there probably wasn't as much as what there would have been had it been a Final Fantasy or a God of War or a Last of Us or any of this kind of stuff, So it's kind of pick your poison at this point. But I like both. I like a bit of fast food. I like a good hearty, healthy dinner. It's kind of it's whatever you're in the mood for. I'm not necessarily like going to shame someone for just wanting to have the fast food of the gaming industry all the time. It's up to them.
Oh no, for sure. And I think you had a really well
because every game has its merit. Every game is still art, to some degree. Doesn't really matter. It's much like art in the sense that once it's out of the developer's hands, it sort of like becomes the player's, opinion. It becomes their plaything. It becomes what they mold it in their mind to become.
Yeah.
It's special to them or it's not special to them. It's for the player to decide how they interact with it. There's obviously like a lot of development that goes into like making sure that every player feels a certain way in certain parts of the game. But that's just like good development at that point, being able to mold how the player feels about certain things. So yeah, rant over, I guess. I don't know.
No, I mean
that's just a bit of observational stuff going on there. I feel like we've spoken about that before, but maybe not in as such detail. I don't know.
Agreed. And like you say, Jay, I wouldn't necessarily shame someone for playing your whatevers, but for me, do you know what? I sometimes just get a bit of a starvation of. I forget how good those things are, because like when I play a game like probably a bit like Wonderlands, and then maybe I try and play a game like Cyberpunk, I'm like, oh, I haven't tasted this in so long,
I feel like another good comparison then is that these sort of service games is like a really salty fast food, and like good games are just like a really tall glass of freezing cold water. It's kind of like, get all that salt out of my mouth and my system, So it's just it cleanses the palate, Just refreshing and exactly what you need.
I'm just a bit sad that I'm sure it's just my perception, but it just sometimes feels that there's more salty foods than there is glass waters, and obviously it used to be the other way around. You know what I mean?
I feel like if you look hard enough, there's probably a good 50-50.
I
It
think
just
probably not.
again, like, not every good game you think is going to be good. Like, I
True,
think on a
true.
like a what do you call it, a subjective way of looking at the good games, like, you know, half of them probably are the best. It's just that it might not be your cup of tea, you know, might not be your bag. Like, I'm sure there's so many games that you think are like 10 out of 10, but to me they're like a 7 or an 8.
Yeah.
And vice versa. There's probably so many games that I think are the best games ever that you just like Vampire or something. You know, like, I know it's amazing
Yeah.
to me, but to you, you might not be fussed.
Yeah.
To each their own. You know, whatever floats your boat.
And with that, Jay, please take us to the news for the
Okay.
week.
Okay.
Boom, boom, boom. In true TGO fashion, Jay put all the news stories on this
I
week, and
did.
I
I
didn't have
knew
any
that
to
I
add
might as well go through them
because
and be like, Nick's gonna want to talk about all this stuff anyway. So
it's true. It's true. It's
yeah,
true, guys.
there's
It's
no
true.
point in divvying it up. It might as well be one of us do it, and then we'll just both talk about it. You know.
All right, guys. So, first up, Jay, we've got a couple of stories about CD Projekt Red.
Oh yeah.
Now, I believe this comes from Eurogamer because they confirmed it with them or spoke to them.
Yeah.
So this comes from Robert Purchase over at Eurogamer, saying that CD Projekt Red has confirmed that the medallion in the picture teasing the new Witcher game does indeed resemble a lynx. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's not the cat or the wolf, depending on which one you talk about.
Oh, so just long way of saying, right, that they're working on a Witcher game, right?
Yeah,
A
that
new Witcher game.
isn't Geralt, I imagine. They confirmed that it's a new
Oh.
school. It's a new Witcher school, which means new
Oh, I
characters,
see.
no more
I
Geralt,
see.
no more the usual lot of people, no more tests. It's just all new, whole new Witcher.
I think it's probably a good idea, actually.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you
But
think, Jay? What do you think?
I have a feeling I know what they're going to do with it. I mean, it depends on how progressive CD Projekt Red are feeling at the time.
With aggressive with
No, progressive. Progressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not sure how CD Projekt Red have a bit of a rocky history when it comes to like inclusion and diversity, I guess. So I'm not sure exactly whether they're going to go full tilt one way or full tilt the other or half and half. I'm not sure. Because whenever I think like new IP nowadays, when it comes to like game devs or filmmakers that are like making a new thing, it's almost like at this point the first thing that most of these people think about is, right, how many not white people can we include in this project? That's kind of like what I feel like where they're sort of going with a lot of this stuff. Not to get too political.
No, you're fine.
But
You're
I
fine,
feel like that definitely must be one of the things that's brought up in like the meetings, right? It's kind of like, well,
You think?
I genuinely think it
it's
is. I
more a
think it
case
depends
of-
on the company, obviously, but I think definitely in Disney, it's probably one of the first things they talk about.
For sure. But we don't like to get too political, Jay.
No, that's
but
about as far as I'm going to go with it. I'm not
but I
saying
get
that it's a
what you're
good or a
saying.
bad thing. I'm just saying it's a possibility that's what they talk about,
I get what you're saying.
given prior
and
evidence.
without doubt, a lot of game developers are seemingly
Yeah, trying to appease about a group of 10,000
uniform.
people that don't play games.
On this, Jay. Appreciate you putting it on, and I
Yeah.
heard about it.
I put this up for you because I thought this was definitely up your alley, and it actually makes me kind of want to play Witcher at some point. But
ultimately, I think it's a fantastic idea to step away from Geralt and that, because let's be
Yeah,
honest,
it's
guys,
been
you
a
can't beat The
long
Witcher
time.
3, and you just leave it. Second thing is, we ain't seen this game to 2028, so that's all I've got to say about
maybe
that.
even later, like 2029, 2020, 2030.
20, yeah.
I mean,
And
if
then we've
they
also-
really want to go like the large, I reckon they've probably. I mean, they can't have started development on this yet, no?
I think they have, yeah.
Or maybe they have. Maybe they've given up on. I mean, it depends on what team is working on Cyberpunk.
Well, I don't think it takes a team of 500 to do the patches for Cyberpunk, right?
No, that's true. They've probably like put their like dedicated Cyberpunk developers on it.
teams.
You know,
Yeah.
they've probably got
So,
They've probably got the rest of they've probably got like the 95% like amazing people working on the new Witcher, and the 5% who are like, oh, I'll keep working on Cyberpunk just to sort of finish that off. You know.
So we also had Jason Slammer, who on Twitter seems to have announced that he's leading, or he's the game director for this new game.
Oh, what's he done before?
He responded to. Oh, he directed Gwent, which is.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah, I actually
game.
like Gwent. Gwent's fun.
So, he responded to a Twitter user, basically saying that The Witcher 4 he promised no crunch on his watch or on my watch. Quote.
They said that about Cyberpunk, didn't they?
Did they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a similar sort of thing that came out around the time that Cyberpunk was first releasing, about how I think it was like a couple months before Cyberpunk came out. It was on its like second or third delay, because we were supposed to get it I think middle of 2020, but we didn't get it till the end. And I think right in the middle they released like one of those yellow things that they always do, right?
Yeah.
And it said something about, we're going to make sure there's no crunch on this. Even though we're delayed, we'll make sure there's no crunch. And then it came out like a month or two after it released, there was a bunch of crunch and everyone was like pissed about it. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But I mean, they say one thing and do another. That's just like, behind closed doors and all that.
Next up, Jay.
just yeah, bye.
Oh no, sorry. Like, I didn't have anything else to say. So
that's fine. That's fine. I understand. It's true. I don't know how whether I care too much about crunch. Like, I get that obviously it affects employees a lot. Like, I'd rather crunch wasn't even a thing. It doesn't really make sense that it's even a thing at this point. Like, to me, it's just like big fat cats being like, "Where's my money?" And then there's a guy below them who's like, "Right, I'll make sure you get your money." And then a guy below that who's like, "I need to make sure that I make these people work super hard so this person can get their money and that person can get their money." And then it affects the morale of the entire team. And then it's kind of like, oh crap, this is like inhumane and we shouldn't really be doing this to our people. So I think yes, it shouldn't be a thing. Obviously, it shouldn't be a thing.
I think it's really, really, really complex, because
what you
just said, I don't think should exist.
No.
But I also think that people shouldn't be not allowed to work extra hours on a creative project
if they want to. Yeah, I think if it's their choice, like I think if it'd be good if the one of these guys above would be like, right, you have the choice to do crunch. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Because I think the big incentive about crunch on Cyberpunk was they got paid so much more than they usually do. More than double than they usually do. So they took that and went, right, I'm going to be making money right now. And they just stayed on for like 22 hours out of the day. And it was like, okay, I'll do that. I'll happily do that. I have no life at home anyway, so I'll just do that. It's kind of like, if you have the choice, it's fine. But if you don't, then don't work there anymore.
Like, it's really difficult because I've never worked at a game developer, so I can.
We wouldn't
know
the
environment.
But
as someone who doesn't work core hours 9 to 5 strictly, I'm not against that culture, I guess. Depending on whether you're forced to or not, I guess.
Yeah, if you're forced, it shouldn't happen. But if you're given the choice, then it's whatever. It's your choice. It's up to you.
Next up, Jay. Also, I don't. Sometimes I don't want to always cut you off on your point, you know what I mean? So sometimes I don't mind moving on, because I'm like, okay, Jay said the point, I'll move, you know what I mean? Because I feel like I'm undermining you, or not undermining you, but I want you to have the impact of the last sentence sometimes.
Okay,
you know
understood. That was great.
Right,
I like that.
Up. Good news from my side, unsurprising news. Basically, the game director of Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, has confirmed on Twitter that the game will be delayed to spring 2023. Called it!
You did. I remember you specifically said 2023. I remember you saying.
Dude, I think this is good because...
of course it's good. Any delay is amazing most of the time.
For sure. And I still think this game looks super strong.
Yeah.
Jay, if this gets delayed to the end of 2023, I'm going to have a Cyberpunk effect when I'm going to go, okay, guys, you've had 7 years now. I think it's about time.
What was the original release for this game? Do we know? I think it was October 2022, I think.
I think so, mate.
So October, November time. And then I think they haven't specified about 2023, but I have a feeling it'll probably be much like you said. It'll be sort of like a March, maybe. March, April.
That was for Hogwarts.
Yeah, but I feel like they'll do a similar thing with this. It'll come around. It might even be a late February release.
The problem is, Jay, whenever a company says spring, I immediately think June, because again, I'm thinking the latest possible month.
Basically, the last possible, June 20th.
Right. Exactly.
the last day before summer ends or summer starts, even. Yeah.
Right.
100%. I get it. I understand. So you're thinking it'll be more of a June release, will you?
Do you know what I do, Jay? And I'll tell you for why. I'm pretty sure one of the Arkham games, if not two, like if not a few of them, have released in that window, in that summer
Okay.
window. I think Arkham Knight might have even released in that window. Truth be told.
Okay.
But I agree with you, Jay. I think a February could be good. I think an April could be great as well.
I don't know what it is about like June, July releases, but a lot of the time they seem to get lost.
E3, bro. E3.
Ah, yeah, that's why. It's because there's a bunch of
New stuff.
new stuff being announced. So people are like, I don't care about this new release. I'm just going to talk about this, thing that's going to be coming out next year, kind of thing. But I think the only game that's done well on a July release is like Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Dude, yeah, for sure.
July 19th, I think that came out.
For sure.
Yeah, that did really, really well. But yeah, sort of that May, June, July sort of release. Like middle of the year tends to get lost in a bunch of stuff. So like everything at the beginning of the year and everything at the end of the year is like for like game awards and stuff, and then everything in the middle sort of is like somewhat forgotten about. That's really odd.
Jake, can we just, because you just said Ghost, it just reminded me of FF7 Remake. Can we just take 2 seconds just to recognise how good that game is? Because I can't quite.
Which one, Ghosts or Final Fantasy?
7 Remake.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always forget that you've played that game. It's just like, to me, it doesn't really like. I know, like, to me, you don't seem like much of a Final Fantasy guy. Like, I know you are, but I just have to remind myself that you've played all the Final Fantasies, much like I have.
Well, the ones you have, I haven't.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like when I think of you, I think of you as like a Halo guy, a Witcher guy, a Gears guy, Assassin's Creed guy, a Horizon guy. But when I think of me, I think of like Final Fantasy, Pokemon.
Tales, Pokemon.
What was that you said?
Tales.
Oh yeah, so I basically just think of like JRPGs or just RPGs in general, So
yeah, for sure.
I just have to remind myself that you've played them. But yes, so Final Fantasy 7 Remake, yes, yeah, okay. I've still got to play the bloody DLC yet, or the bridge, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, bro! Oh, we'll talk about it on the show when you do.
Yeah,
Wait,
I'll
did we do a special for that?
No, we did a special for the original game, but we didn't do the DLC or anything.
Maybe I think I talked about it. Anyway,
maybe.
Well, you can cover that when you play it.
Yeah.
Last up, Jay. This comes from. Sorry, guys, I'm just checking. Right, okay, so it comes from IGN, Adam Bankhurst, who looked at Humanoid Studios' website. So, Mass Effect co-creator Casey Hudson has a new studio and is apparently working on a all-new science fiction universe. Jay.
Yeah, I'm always interested when I hear new IP or previous game dev or game director from this thing that made this critically acclaimed game has now started a new studio. It always gives me a little bit of hope of kind of like, oh, the underdog story or like the from beginnings type story. I'll always like hearing about when that happens. It's just I feel like I haven't seen the end of it. I don't think that I can remember. I'm trying to remember the only time I've ever seen the end of it, I guess, is Death Stranding, right?
Right.
Like he started sort of like his own. Kojima started his own game company, and then within like 4 or 5 years we had Death Stranding. So it's kind of like, oh, okay. We saw the beginning, we saw the middle, we saw the end, we saw the good progression. It's just nice to follow that sometimes and to see where it's headed. It's just nice. It's just nice.
It is nice. My only, as you say, Jay, my concern, of course, is, I'm really happy for you. I hope it goes well. I'll see your game in 2035. You know what I mean? Like that's.
Or we won't see it at all because it'll have flopped. Like it'll just won't have made it out of pre-development or whatever. Like it'll
not
get.
To be negative.
Or they'll run out of money, or there'll be something.
Right.
I think making a game from like a small thing, like from a startup like that, you've probably got less than 1% chance of actually making that game. Like it's so minuscule.
I mean, you can't put a percentage on it, Jay. That just seems cool.
No, but I feel like it's a lot lower than you think.
Yeah, sure.
Like the money has to be perfect. The morale of the game devs have to be perfect. The actual people you hire have to be perfect. The game direction, the people who you hire, like for writing and what do they call it? Like
coders?
No, like trying to figure out the market on what's going to be popular in 3 years, kind of thing.
Marketing?
Yeah, so like like groups of they like hire groups of people to be to like inform you about what's going to be
Market
trendy in 3
research,
years. Yeah,
focus
market
testing.
research, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I feel like a lot of game developers have to do that. They have to have some sort of meeting where they're like, right, our game's going to be not going to be coming out for 4 or 5 years. Are we still going to be relevant then? Is our idea for our game going to be relevant?
Right.
And if it isn't, then they might have to rethink about what they're going to do direction-wise, you know. Which kind of actually fascinates me. You don't think about that a lot, but a lot of game developers have to be like, you know, is this going to do well in 4 or 5 years? Or this zombie game might not be might be a bit worn out by then. So you know, like that kind of thing. It's interesting to see that there's probably quite a few of these like 10 out of 10 games that probably went through that process and absolutely nailed it. It was like, oh, perfect timing, which is awesome. So yeah, I'm just interested to see where they're going to go with it. It kind of just seems like, so what was the idea for the game potentially? It was like a space thing.
All new science fiction universe.
Science fiction universe. I guess that's pretty vague, but
I think there was more detail. But truth be told, I have closed the page now.
Yeah, don't worry about it. But it's from a guy who worked on Mass Effect, right?
Yeah, Casey Hudson. He was, I think, the project director or project lead of the Mass Effect trilogy, if you will. Right. Again, Jay, another example of a trilogy of games which I spoke to Will about. I was like, mate, we abused how good these were when they came out. I don't think we realised how good they were, because now we still look at them so fondly, and ideally we'd have 3 or 4 of those types of trilogies, but we don't, Jay. You know what I mean?
I have a feeling that this guy will probably do a similar thing to what Outer Worlds did.
Right.
In that it's just a guy from Bethesda, was it? Or no, a guy from
BioWare.
No, who was the Outer Worlds devs were from
Obsidian.
Obsidian, that's what it is. Yeah, so Obsidian was like a subsect of Bethesda, right? Or it was like the people who worked on New Vegas, but they weren't part of Bethesda.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct,
so I feel like
correct.
this new thing is going to be somewhat similar to that, where they're going to make a game that's basically Mass Effect but isn't Mass Effect. I'm a little bit worried that's what they're going to do with it. It's just going to become another Outer Worlds.
To be fair, bro, I think you're spot on.
Yeah, that's probably he's going to be like, well, it worked last time.
I imagine, like you say, Jay, because you don't want to say this, do you? Because you'd like to think that EA aren't that evil, right?
Oh, there we go. Evil corporations? No.
If they are as bad as you might think they are, he probably has just gone, all right, I'll go make the single player sci-fi RPG that you won't let us make. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that's a point. Yeah, that's true. He was probably like, I'm sick of this. I just want to make this game and you're not letting us make it. I'm going to go make it myself. Yeah. Screw you.
Yeah.
Which is actually probably a good thing. So yeah, while I'm hopeful, I'm also like looking at previous things that have happened in similar veins and been like, oh, okay, well, I guess we could get excited, but it might also not be that great. So we'll see.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll be talking about this in a couple of years, I guess. We'll get back to you on that one.
Can you please take us to the second topic screen, whereby I'm very, very excited to talk to you about a game I've been playing.
Oh yeah, I'm interested because I haven't even looked at the doc, so I wouldn't even know what this is.
Oh my god!
I don't know.
But before we do that, Jay, would you like to take us through some of the prep you're doing for Tiny Tina's Wonderland?
Sure.
It comes out tomorrow. We're pretty excited.
Yeah, so literally right before we started, I was talking to you about I'm watching videos from a lot of Borderlands content creators who I've watched for many, many years now, probably close to a decade. And they are very, very on it when it comes to releasing content that preps you very, very well for upcoming Borderlands games. And they're obviously on the Wonderlands train, and they're already end game, max level, all the best builds and gear and all this kind of stuff. And so I'm now sort of just watching those videos, deciding what kind of class I want to go for and what kind of gameplay experience I want to have. And I think I've got like a general idea, but I definitely still need to take another hour or so tonight to be like, right, I need to definitively make a choice. I've got about 3 or 4 different choices in my head that I possibly could do. I just need to pick one, and then I'll have the other 3 that I just do at another time, because I'm more than likely going to have multiple playthroughs. So I think your first class that you pick in the game is like hard stuck, like you can't change that one. but I think you can change your second class or your subclass at any point.
Right, that makes sense.
Which to me sounds quite nice, because I'd quite like it to be almost like a loadout system, where you could like just have your classes already loaded out and just swap out your second class when you wanted to or needed to. That'd be fun if you could do that. I doubt you can, but I can imagine that's what they could add that later on. That's so if you can change your second class. I'm not sure if you can, but.
So are you gonna do a playthrough for each class? Or sorry,
no. So I think out of the 6 classes, I think there's 36 different iterations of classes you can do. So technically no, but I definitely will be doing minimum 2 playthroughs. I think they'll definitely be like
together, aren't we?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. I'm going to be doing like my main one, and then we're going to be doing a co-op one.
Yeah.
At some point, yeah. And I kind of hope that your main one or your co-op one will be different to our, or yeah, your main one will be your thing, and then the co-op one will be different to your main one. Like it'll be like to test out a new build kind of thing,
Oh yeah, for sure. But I'm not very good. If you were like, Nick, I want you to be this because
no, I wouldn't make you do anything.
I'd be like,
if we just so happen to be the same build on our co-op playthrough, I don't think it would matter. We're still going to get to the end game. It doesn't really matter.
Oh yeah, dude, that's a point actually, Jay. We do need to be a bit wary, don't we? Because the Borderlands 3 endgame was really, really good, especially with the mayhem stuff. But obviously, Borderlands 2, we both know, is fucking broken endgame.
It's awful. So it's awful.
I'm just a little bit, I just want to make sure that we can still play.
From what I've seen already of my very small amount of prep for this game, the endgame looks closer to Borderlands 3 than Borderlands 2, but definitely somewhere in the middle.
Right. Okay.
I think there'll be a lot of patches between now and then.
What, you don't think it's polished after being
no.
for like a month?
I think you've forgotten what a release of a Borderlands game is like. What happens in like the first month of a Borderlands game is there's a bunch of hot fixes of like, right, this thing's broken, we need to balance it and get it all sorted out. But I think they did that a lot in Borderlands 3. But I think they definitely said that they want to do that less, and that they want to just keep the game broken in some instances. But I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll just try and fix as much as they possibly can, because there already is a game-breaking build that people are like, "Yep, this is the best thing in the game." Apparently, so do that. Okay. If you want to like, I've genuinely watched them kill the toughest boss in the game in less than 3 seconds. Like I've just seen the health bar just go and then that's it. I'm like, okay, that's exactly what I want my Borderlands experience to be, just to be able to kill that end boss in like a couple of seconds.
Oh, but Jay, there's no challenge, bro.
Yeah, I know, but that's just fun to do. It's like you feel powerful, and then obviously if I want to make it, thing is that's like obviously probably like on like an easier mode. But if you want to be like super challenging and get better loot, then yes, it'd be the same fight but just longer,
Right. So tell the people, Jay. So you've got next week off, right? So Jay's gonna.
Yeah. So originally I was supposed to have the week after next off. But through circumstances that have happened at work, I've been able to have next week off instead. Luckily for me, that means I get 9 days and 10 nights of continuous Wonderlands play. So I get Friday night, I get Saturday day and night, Sunday day and night, so on until the next Sunday day and night. So I get 10 nights, 9 days, which is roughly 90 hours. Because I will be playing 10 hours a day.
Oh my god!
And that's a guarantee. Ding.
What I'm most jealous about, I think, is I don't know if I've told you this, Jay, but throughout my gaming career.
Oh, I like this. Ooh.
I have bought games at launch, right?
Yes, we all have. We've all made that mistake before.
And by the way, me and Jay both pre-ordered this, so FYI.
Oh, I'm so glad you have. It's so cool.
I have.
I've
made the leap of faith once every few years.
I mean, it's Borderlands, man. Kind of at this point.
Well, actually, I know. Actually, it does relate to the game I'm going to talk to in a sec. But what I'm trying to say is, I really like getting a game or playing a game when it first comes out, and then completing it, and then like it's almost like you just deal with it as soon as it comes up. You know what I mean?
Mm. And there's no sort of like too much prep you have to do necessarily. Like a lot of it is Like it kind of, I feel like playing a game day one almost rides that line between having some prep and knowing barely anything, so that everything is new and fresh and is like more of a challenge or
Right.
more fun. Like you just, it's like watching a TV show for the first time rather than being like hearing about someone describe it to you and then watching it.
Right, and
Yeah,
also like it's like when you watch Breaking Bad, right? And like
yeah,
you watched it, or you watched the last season like as it came
I
out.
did. Same day.
Whereas like if you haven't watched it, whereas if you haven't watched it, you go to Netflix, you're like, oh, I really need to see all 5 seasons of Breaking Bad. But
Yeah,
because we're playing Wonderlands when it comes out, like in 3 months' time, I won't have it on my wish list being like, oh, I still need to play Wonderlands. Like it'll be
yeah.
done. You know what I mean?
It
You
won't
know
be
what
in
I
the
mean?
back of your mind anymore because it'll have already
Right.
left there.
Like you with Guardians, right? You're like, yeah, cool, another day in the office. See you later. You
Yeah,
know?
I didn't want to. I didn't want to like wait for that game. I needed to play it because it was already again back in my mind. So I needed to bring it to the front and then for it just to escape. I couldn't have it sitting around back there for too long. I get like that. I think that I'm like that with. There's already like a couple of games that are out right now that are sat back there of me being like, this is annoying. This is
Right,
while I can
right.
afford these games, I'd rather not just spend like 140 quid on 3 games right now. So I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll just wait until I spend about 90 instead. It's kind of like, oh god, all right, fine. I'll wait a year just to
Oh
save 50
dear.
quid, I guess. Fine. It's like
Yeah,
whatever,
it's worth
but
it. It's worth it.
yeah, it will be hopefully.
So Jay, so the game I played,
Here we go.
so what happened was, I got COVID last week
Oh yeah,
for
I
the
actually forgot
first
about that. Yeah, you
time.
did. Are you feeling better now? You obviously must be.
Yeah, all good, thank you, mate. All good,
Would you
all
say
good.
that you're feeling any long-term effects,
Yes,
which are?
haziness of the mind.
Oh really? What sort of like foggy?
Yeah, slight, very minor fog, but also confusion in my cognitive capability.
Wow, that's kind of worrying. Jesus
It
Christ.
is, isn't it?
Well, I'll
It's
actually
like
talk to you about
what?
that after the pod, but yeah, sure.
And yeah, it's not because yeah. Anyway, apart from that, all good. So basically, I tested positive. Funnily enough, that day, I felt fine in the morning, and by 12
Yeah.
o'clock, I was like, something's wrong with me.
See, that
And then I
freaks
was
me
just like,
out because, like, can you imagine like
yeah.
feeling fine and all of a sudden you're just like, oh god, like I'd
And I
hate
knew
that.
that and I knew it wasn't just I was tired, I had a cold, because I have never been like in the last few years, I've never been like, oh, I'm absolutely fine in the morning, and then I get to lunch and I'm like, oh, I feel
Yeah,
dreadful.
it's always been a
I was
long game, right? Rather than like
right.
coming in on quick. Yeah, it's always been a long game. Yeah.
So anyway, tested positive, and then I was off for a few days,
Bonus, play
etc.
games.
etc. But what happened was, no, actually, funnily enough, I think the game came out after I went back to work. But TUNIC, J.
Oh yeah, maybe you talk about this. Okay.
So for those who don't know, basically it's this indie game where you play my not their words, not mine, a Zelda-like Souls-like game where
Oh
you play
right, okay.
isometric fox. And you basically, you got to do the standard stuff. It's an indie video game. So I thought it looked interesting at E3 and stuff, right? Apparently, it's been showing for the last 4 or 5 years, and so it's finally come out, right, Jay?
Oh okay.
And it came to day one Game Pass, and I was like, I'll try it out. Like open mind since our conversation, right?
Yeah.
The big convo. We need to name that or
I
something.
think this is like
You know,
exactly
Big
what
Bang.
Game Pass was for. Whereas the
Oh,
people who
so
look at a
true.
game and go, I'll try it out, rather than look at a game and go, that costs like 30 quid. No. I think that's
100%.
exactly what, like, you've literally just proven the point as to why Game Pass exists and why it's so
100%
good for
do
so many
agree.
game developers. Yeah, it's
And I
insane.
think this game is 30 quid as well, I think.
There you
So
go.
like,
Spot
or
on.
at least 20. So yeah, exactly. So in short, Jay, the Big Bang convo has proven itself worthy once again, because I ended up really liking this game.
The Big Bang combo? What do you mean?
This is the ratio of story to gameplay
Okay,
and
is that
all that.
we're naming it the Big Bang combo, as in the beginning of time, as we know it, right?
Space
Space
time, time,
time.
time, time.
Okay, the Big
Yeah, we
Bang
are
combo. Okay, that's
the
good. I
Big
like
Bang
that.
convo.
Okay.
Um,
So what's the ratio, my
And
guy?
oh, dude, what is the ratio?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't wanna spoil it too much for you in that, and obviously for the listeners, right? But basically, it's difficult to say, Jay, because I would say it is probably 60-70 gameplay here,
Yeah.
because it does have that difficulty sort of boss spike, which I did enjoy, a bit like Hades, in fact. Um, and I did enjoy, not having loads of health, right? Because you just respect the enemies a bit more. However, the way the game works, Jay, is that
Mhm.
you basically find pages in the game, and it's an instruction booklet like a gaming manual, but it's some of it's written in a different language. So you actually have to figure out almost everything to do with the game by looking at this manual. And it was very nostalgic in that sense, because it genuinely felt like an old PS1 game
Yeah.
where you like discovered a button after playing it for 3 hours, and it was this the process of discovery was incredible. So
Okay.
again, I don't want to spoil it, but like there'd be things that you didn't even know you could do until the manual said you could do it, and you'd be
Okay.
like, "That is genius, absolutely genius." So you might see something in the world and be like, I know it's important, but I don't know how. You know what I mean? And then
Okay.
you'll
Yeah.
find a
Yeah.
page in the manual, and it'll basically be like, look at this and look at this, and see if you can figure out this. And
That does
so in
sound
that
very
respect,
PlayStation 1.
I suppose it is. I
Yeah,
suppose it
yeah.
is. And in that sense, I was intrigued by the story because I never, you're trying to pick up fragment, a bit like Dark Souls. You're trying to pick up fragments of what actually has happened here, and you get a rough idea. And it's not like a revolutionary story or anything, but it is, it's quite cool. But yeah, mate, I've I've actually got all the achievements for it. 1000G. I think I've played it for 25 hours over.
I was gonna say,
Mate,
yeah,
I
what was
played
the time? Yeah.
25 hours with
Well, that's pretty
everything.
good. I guess you didn't quite get the money's worth if it's like a 30 quid game, but I guess if it's more like 25 quid game, then you did. I don't know, whatever.
Well, to be fair, Jay, the last hour and a half of that. So basically, what happened was I got all the collectibles. Okay, so warning for everyone who's going to do this game and complete it, like me, okay? Defeat the last boss before you get all the collectibles.
Oh.
Otherwise, you'll have to go through all of, as far as I'm aware, you'll have to go through all of New Game Plus and get to the last boss again and fight it again.
Right,
Okay,
okay.
so
That's one of those things. Okay.
yeah, exactly. And I don't think there's a way around it, Jay, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was pretty disappointed about that. Aside from that, it's really cool, mate. Like, music's cool, gameplay's cool, the game, like, it's just cool, man. Dude, I tell you what, actually, Jay, when I was playing it, I couldn't stop playing it. I played it for like, those 25 hours were over like 4 days. I could
Okay.
not stop playing this
So
game,
about five
which is
hours a
like
day,
really
roughly 6 hours a
right.
day.
So I think that's the biggest compliment I can give it, really.
Okay. It's
Just couldn't
weird.
stop
I
playing it.
remember you talking about it very briefly, and then me looking at it on the store and being like, "Game doesn't like." I'm judging the book by the cover right now. It doesn't look that good.
Yeah, sure.
I'm actually trying to remind myself of like how it looked actually. So like,
But yeah.
describe exactly like what the game actually like plays like in
So
terms of like
so it's-
where do you start, like what do you have to do to get to the next level, all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
you're a fox, and it's
Okay.
isometric, so it's kind of got like that corner view aspect.
Oh
It's like a
wow.
kind of cutie 3D cartoony type
Oh yeah,
world.
I see.
It's a bit like a Nintendo game. It is a Zelda-like in the sense of you've
Oh,
got
I
to get the three
remember seeing
things
this
to
at
do the
E3. I
things.
remember this
Yeah.
now.
So you
Oh
get the
my
three things
god.
to do the things, to do the blah blah, to do the blah blah. So you'll go so you get a stick to begin with. You're on an island, and then you start exploring.
Yeah,
You
I
get
can
a
see
stick.
why you enjoyed this actually. Like it looks kind of a lot like Hades in some respects in terms of like the visual style. Like it kind of
I
has
wouldn't
like,
say so
well no, more of
personally.
like the like the visual is obviously very different, but I mean like it has a similar sort of like
Oh, the
um
isometric thing.
yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
It's obviously very heavily inspired by Zelda just by the outfit that the character is wearing.
Right,
Um,
right.
it also reminds me a bit of Fez. Do you remember Fez?
100%, dude.
360 days?
100%.
Yeah, that's kind of. It reminds me of
100%.
that. It reminds me a lot of Fez and like Bastion as well.
100%.
Very similar. Okay. Yeah, I can see why you would play this game. It also has like a very almost Risk of Rainy type feel to it as well, and a bit like that. Is it Titan Souls? There's another game that's very similar.
Yep. So they made Death's Door, which I spoke to you about, Jay. This has got major Death's Door vibe.
Yeah.
Major Death's Door vibe. Like 110%.
Yeah, I remember seeing this game. Huh.
So, what's weird, Jay, is that apparently I adore Zelda likes like Death's Door and Tunic, and I don't. Like
you would love Pokemon Arceus. Tell you that right now.
Okay.
Very Zelda-like.
but not necessarily like more. I would say actually more old school Zelda than new Zelda.
And you'd probably like Genshin Impact too. That's very similar.
Fair.
I feel like the Zelda-like games have become like the new zombie games. They're just there everywhere now.
To be fair, yeah. If it's again, like as I say, Jay, these are more old school Zelda.
Yeah.
But since Breath of the Wild, you're so right.
I know what you mean. Like there's a lot of Breath of the Wild clones, and there's also a lot of like older Zelda clones too. There's definitely a bit of both. I feel like the older Zelda clones are coming in more the indie mobile games.
Yeah.
And then the Zelda likes are becoming sort of console and mobile games. There's a lot of mobile games coming out at the minute that are just all like either Genshin clones or Zelda Breath of the Wild clones. And I don't mind it because it's just sort of like we could probably make a comparison again to like the fast food type games, and then like making games that are similar to a really popular game, but they're not. They're either as good or not as good, or they're never usually better. Like I feel like we had that with PUBG and Fortnite and that kind of era of like battle royale games. Like everyone was making battle royale games for like 3 or 4 years. And I feel like it's been a while since one's come out, other than like First Soldier, I guess. But
agrees.
I feel like the Zelda-like games are now the new battle royale type meta. You know, it's like the gaming industry meta. And I think the reason why they all come out at once is they probably all had very similar marketing groups that went around to all these game developers. Probably the same guy went around and went, "Should probably make a Zelda-like game. Zelda-like game? Zelda-like game. Battle Royale? Battle Royale. You know this Battle Royale thing? It's going to be popular in like 4 or 5 years." That's probably what this one guy just went around like influencing the whole industry. It's kind of like, okay, fine. Yeah, like fucking Waluigi just like, eh. That's what happened. Like, it's Nintendo. Damn you, Nintendo.
Oh, God.
It's Nintendo's fault. It's always their fault.
So that's it, Jay. I don't want to dwell on too much.
You're enjoying your indie games. You're going through a bit of an indie game phase. I feel like you've always been the kind of like indie game guy. It's just like part of your thing. I feel like you've always, not always, but like you've definitely fairly recently just sort of like become like.
To be fair, I do
like Hollow Knight and all that kind of stuff, right? You like Hollow Knight?
Yeah, I've given up on Hollow Knight, you know, because after I played Tunic and Death's Door, I was like, I just don't like Hollow Knight.
Child's Light, is that what it was called?
I love Child of Light.
Child of Light, yeah. Again, like I don't know what it is with you and all these indie games, man. You're obsessed.
They're just good, bro.
I don't know. It's really hard for me to get into those style of indie games. I never want to sit down for longer than half an hour playing those kind of things. It's really, I find it really
bite size. I like them because they are only 8 to 10 hours long or whatever, you know.
I don't know. I can try, but I struggle with those. I don't know. I feel like I need a bit more sustenance, I guess. Yeah, a bit more meat going on.
It's funny you say that, dude, because like I almost never see anyone play indie games on my friends list, and I've only got like 5 people on there. But yeah, I never see people play indie games.
I feel like I'm friends with people who play every game, so I just always see anything.
That's so exciting.
I think I've got a couple of guys on there with like such a high gamer score. I'm like, you must have played every release for the last like decade.
Oh my god.
You know, it's kind of like, oh Jesus Christ. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
All right, Jay. Do you mind if we can move to wrap up the show?
Sure.
I think I would like to start, if it's all right with you, with some Pixel Perfect, and then we'll go to
hang on.
Okay. Some Guess Who's review. I think
I need to go to the other thing.
Right, guys. So without further ado, Pixel Perfect. Me and my production team have picked some random game cover arts. We've pixelated them, and Jay's got to guess them. He's got 3 games. There is a theme for these games.
God damn it! I really wish you'd give me a clue about the theme, because that would help.
So let me just cover that. Actually, I can't cover that. You'll have to ignore that bottom one, Jay, for the time being.
I can't even see it. It's just like a blob.
So without further ado, by the way, we do try and make it as audio as possible. So without further ado, Jay, Any thoughts on this
So
cover?
this is the first one. We're playing on hard difficulty right now.
Yeah, we are.
I feel like
James
the
really good at
larger
this
the
game, so
box,
I'll
the
turn it
harder
up.
it is. Okay, this is what I'm
Oh, really?
envisioning.
You want me to minimize the box? I can do.
No. What I said was the larger the blocks, or like the pixels, the harder it
Oh, the
is.
blocks.
Yes.
Got you.
So all I'm seeing currently, the top right part of the image seems almost like a sky, I guess. Definitely like a bluey and grey type thing going on. The bottom
Yeah.
left is almost like a pinky white type thing, almost like a tongue, maybe is kind of what I'm going for. But I feel like tongues
Okay.
are sort of more depicted as more red in sort of like games, so we'll go with that. So I'm not really sure what else could be pink that's in this sort of like thing. And then I'm also getting like a sort of like a beigey sort of orangey sandy color in the top left, which almost always reminds me of Ratchet and Clank. Like I feel that's just what the color of Ratchet. That's just what he is.
So,
And then
my
bottom right is just
advice,
like black and brown. So it almost looks like a bug, but I'm not even really sure.
my advice here would be to perhaps pay attention to the top left and bottom right.
Great. I want to say that the top left almost looks like there's an eye as well. It looks like a nose and an eye and a face.
Okay.
The only other detail I can see is that there's a black strip at the top, which almost makes me think that that's probably part of the game cover, or like the sort of like
I believe
thing.
that's the
But
platform.
yeah, exactly what sort of platform it's on. But I don't know what other than PlayStation. PlayStation is the only one that I remember having black as like a platform strip. I feel like it has to be a PlayStation game. I'm probably gonna be like way off here, but I'm gonna probably have to guess one of the Ratchet and Clanks, even though I know it's not right. I feel like I've done that a lot. I might even like guess Tasmanian Tiger, just because I feel like no, but I know that's like more. There's red in there somewhere.
You don't have to. If you don't think you know it, it's all good. We can just, you don't have to guess the game you know is wrong. I'm not going to torture you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I mean, I would like to at least guess, just so it's like
3, 2.
I'll go one of the Ratchet and Clanks, if not Tasmanian Tiger. I'm going to go with either of those.
Unfortunately, that incorrect, Jay.
Probably is. I'm going to be so pissed when I see this.
The classic that is not Final Fantasy X, but Final Fantasy X-2.
Oh, that's an alternate cover. Can I just point out?
I don't think it is.
I think that's the original cover rather than the more modern cover. I think I'm more used to seeing the modern cover.
Understood.
That's probably why. I would have never got that, but wow.
Oh, okay. Fair dues.
Actually, you know what? I think the only cover I've seen is the plain white background with just the title. Like it literally is just white with the black title. That's all I've seen. So yeah, that's what I'm used to. But yeah, okay. Oh my god. This is a little bit easier just so that because the blocks or the pixels are slightly smaller. Oh wow. Do you know what I'm seeing?
This is a hard one.
I'm seeing a blue bird with a very skinny head, giant black eyes, and like a beak. And like a really long sort of like plumage on its head.
I kind of see that.
And then either side of it is just like a sandy landscape. That's literally all I see. And I don't know what game has a blue
platform. Can you try and see
platform? Oh, DS. Okay. Or Game Boy?
Okay.
Damn. A theme of Final Fantasy, huh? Potentially. What Final Fantasy game came out on DS or Game Boy? It might not even be Final Fantasy. It might even just be like RPG, but damn it! I actually might guess this might just be RPG. So I'm gonna guess it's one of the Dragon Quests.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you which one. Probably like 7 or 8. I know it's wrong, but that's what my guess is gonna be.
Listen, it's a great guess, and I love the logic. It's not right.
Of course it isn't.
The logic. Okay, so you are looking at this is really hard.
Yeah, I bet.
You are looking at Final Fantasy XII. You
bastard! That's like probably one of the most obscure Final Fantasy games of all time. I actually forgot that existed.
Sure.
Jesus Christ.
Until L sent it.
Like, I feel like the Nintendo DS Final Fantasy days were a dark time for a lot of people. Very dark
they
time.
ported a lot of the originals to DS, I think. Jay.
Well, I mean, you can play most of the originals on iOS now as well. So.
Right.
They cost a lot of money. They're like 30 quid each. It's insane.
I'm gonna look at this game later because I don't know whether it's like a DS remake of Final Fantasy 12 or if it's a brand new game. I
think it was just like a side story. It's almost like DLC.
Oh, it's a real-time tactical role-playing game.
Yeah, exactly.
Horrible. Oh, it looks horrible.
Yeah, it's not going to be good if it's on original Nintendo DS, is
it? All right, last up, Jay. Last up for this week.
Okay.
I think you'll get this
one. No. Oh, I know what this is.
You got it.
Although, maybe I don't, because if it's a Final Fantasy thing, I have no idea what it is.
What do you see, Jay?
I think this. You know what my first thought was Singularity.
Okay.
You know what I'm on. You know what I'm on about.
Yeah, I know what you're on about.
So the Singularity cover is basically just a black cover with a guy that is sort of at an angle like this, with like an orange watch type thing on. That's exactly what this looks like, but flipped. Just like a black background with a guy with like an orange glow coming off his arm. That's exactly what it looks like. But if this is Final Fantasy, then this might even be the newest Final Fantasy that isn't even out yet. This might be like some sort of concept art.
This game is out. And this game is well known, and this game you will know.
Damn it. I mean,
what's the theme, Jay?
Final Fantasy, I imagine.
Okay.
I imagine, well, it's not obscure
Dark
Final Fantasy.
Red cover.
Oh, you bastard. Is it I can't remember the name of it. It's the Valentine thing, right? So is it Cerberus or whatever?
What's the name, Jay?
The Dirge of Cerberus?
He's got it, ladies and gentlemen. He's got it.
Oh, wow, yeah.
You knew that.
I did, but that wasn't red enough for me. That was just all orange. I didn't see anything red.
Give over. There you go.
I think had the pixels been slightly smaller and there was a bit more red, I might have got it a bit quicker. But yes, Dirge of Cerberus, again. Probably, I actually think I prefer Dirge of Cerberus over, like, the original Final Fantasy VII game.
Oh, Jay.
Just because it plays, it plays better. It plays better.
Jay, we're gonna get killed.
We are,
People
yes.
are gonna turn up my door and they go, "Are you?"
Well, no, but have you like a PS1 game versus a PS2 game? It's just different, man.
It is different.
Dirge of Cerberus was like another level, and plus Valentine is like one of my favorite Final Fantasy characters of all time. So probably not above Cloud, but still, you know.
Did you see Maximilian play Dirge of Cerberus?
Mhm.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I feel like anything Max has done Final Fantasy I've watched, so
yeah, fair dues.
He's the man. I think Max is genuinely my gaming hero at this point.
Does he play much of the other Final Fantasies in general? You know, like 15, whatever.
You know what? I don't think he's played 15 or 14.
Wow.
I don't even know if he's played 13. I think he's more of an old school Final Fantasy guy. I feel like there's like a line between Final Fantasy like 9 and like 10. There's like a line. I feel like he doesn't go past the 9. Yeah, I feel like he sort of doesn't really cross that line. I could be wrong, but maybe he played it in his spare time. I'm not sure. I might have to look that up.
All right, Joe, please take us back to the home screen, and we shall finish with some Guess Who's Review, Jay. So, for those who haven't played before, Guess Who's Review, Jay's picked a random game review from a random gaming media outlet of a random game, and I've got to guess it based on the quotes of the review.
I can't remember if I've done this one or not, and I'm worried.
Okay.
So if I've already done this one, then I'm sorry, because I've had this on my list for a while and I just never got around to it. So
that's fine. Look, I'm really good at this game, so don't worry about it, Jay.
Okay, give me a minute.
I'm half joking, guys. Chill out. Right, here we go.
Okay, I'll start with this one just because you might not get it from this one. Okay. British agents and devious black market weapons dealers, they are marked on the on-screen minimap with initials.
Can you repeat that? I didn't hear that first bit, mate.
British agents and devious black market weapons dealers, they are marked on the on-screen minimap with initials. Now I know what I think this game is, because if I heard that, I know what I would say. But the thing that throws me off is the British part of it, because I feel like the game that has a mini-map with initials on the map isn't British, right? So it can't be that. No? Am I throwing you for a loop? Am I debating the ever-loving shit out of you? I guess we'll never know. Oh man, that's so good. I'm having a lot.
Sorry, did you say?
I'm genuinely worried we've done this one. There we go.
Did you say British and
British agents and devious black market weapons dealers? They are marked on the on-screen minimap with initials.
You've really done me over here, because
I have, because you know what we're both thinking. You know what we're both thinking. Here. The second part of that quote is like, well, it's obviously that, but the first part is it can't be that because it makes the other part null and void. Okay.
I think this game is good. I think this is one of two games.
Okay.
And I'm gonna guess the first game.
Well, okay.
GTA 2.
Wow, it is not GTA 2. I think had you just said blanket GTA, I probably would have, I don't know, potentially said something different. We'll see. Do you want the second quote?
Yes, please.
Okay. Which one do I go for? Yeah, we'll go with that one. And if you're spotted in a restricted area where most missions take place, the alarms will continue to go off no matter how many guards you kill.
Fuck's sake.
It's very vague.
This isn't GTA, is it? This isn't GTA.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, Christ! What game? Oh, you're an asshole.
It's annoying because once you know what it is, you're like, oh, damn it. Thing is, I'm pretty sure you've played this game. It's just I think it's been a lot. I think you actually played this, well, a lot more recently than I have, but many years after it came out. Yeah. I remember I still have this somewhere, but it's an amazing game.
I'm getting stuck here, guys. Jay's put me in the Rockstar loop. I haven't played LA Noire, so I'm really in trouble here if it's that.
Just spotted You've not played LA Noire? Are you? Whoa! You've not played LA Noire?
You know this?
Oh my god! What is life? I think at one point, LA Noire was my #1 game of all time. At one point, not anymore. Final Fantasy is way above that.
No, you said that on the show. You have said that on the show.
Definitely, it's changed since then. But again, like I say, it changes a lot. So.
Jay, the game is Bully.
The game is not Bully.
Oh,
but that is an amazing guess. It's a good guess. I mean, it's a good guess in the sense that yes, that applies to that game, but it's not the game we're thinking of right now.
Do you know what's annoying, Jay? Is that I feel like I've gotten a lot of games on first or second guess.
You have. I think this might be the first time. This might be the. This might be the first time you've not got it on the first or second try, like ever.
No, I think we've gone third before, right?
Okay. Do you want the last one?
Know. I can't remember. Sure.
Okay. I'm actually a bit worried you won't get it from this, but you should. If you don't get it from this, then I'm worried about you. Honestly. Okay.
Too late for that.
A hard-drinking womanizer with a past who has fled his native Ireland to try his luck at a race car driving in Grand Paris. Now, that genuinely is all you ever need to know about this game, because that is basically the main premise of the game. Main character, drinks a lot, womanizer, from Ireland, is in a race in Paris. Like, that's literally the entire game. I'm genuinely giving you what the game is right now, and you don't know what it is. It annoys the hell out of me.
Do you know what, Jay? I have a lasting guess of what this game is.
I honestly, if you don't get this, I'm going to be so pissed.
I had the slightest hint that it might be this game. The slightest hint.
Yeah, what was that hint?
No, I've played this game fairly recently.
Yeah, I
because
think it was recently.
destroyed this game on the podcast because it's terrible. Oh, it doesn't hold up well. It doesn't hold up well.
No, but
So,
it is a good game still.
I'm gonna.
Please get it right. Please get it right.
I mean, I've been confident in these last two. Jay, I've only played this game for like 2 hours, so
oh really?
I
Okay.
think it's the Saboteur.
It is the Saboteur.
Oh, thank God.
Point for Nick.
Wow.
He's now currently ahead.
That was a great guess.
That was a good one.
Round. Sorry, there's a great round.
I'm glad you got it on that last one, because man, if you didn't get it from that, then there's no hope for you.
Well, to be fair, if you haven't played that game, I don't think you would get that.
Oh no, definitely not. I think you definitely could have got it from the second one, maybe not the first one.
Yeah.
You'd have to have played it a lot to get it from the first one. Because that initial thing, my thing would be like, yeah, that's obviously GTA. It's the only game in existence that I know has that mechanic. But no, it is one of 2 games that has that mechanic.
Oh man, so, yeah. Fair play.
I actually really enjoyed that one. I'm glad it took you. Yeah, I like watching you squirm.
Squeal, peasant.
Squirm.
All right, Jay. Right, well, look, we're gonna have to shoot because we've got like a game to play.
Well, you've got to really go for a nap and then get back up at midnight to play a game. You absolute degenerate. The degeneracy of this boy.
Oh, by the way, Jay, can we just give a shout out to the bit in Bruce Almighty where he makes Steve Carell does the thing on the news channel? Because it's funny every single.
Do you know what's funny? It's weird that you bring that back up. I literally had this thought like about a week ago of like, I really want to watch Bruce Almighty again. It's been like a good 6 or 7 years, maybe even longer than that. It's one of those movies that I think I've probably watched close to 200 times, and it got to the point where I hated the movie for a long time.
Yeah.
Just because I watched it too much. Yeah. I think it's been long enough now where I actually probably would enjoy it again.
What about 40-Year-Old Virgin? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, no. It was good it was good during the time when American Pie was fun for me to watch.
Dude, I think 40-Year-Old Virgin holds up okay, you know. No. I still enjoy it.
It's tough.
I still really enjoy it, actually.
I still think the last half an hour of that movie is probably the most adult part of the movie, just in terms of like.
Oh yeah.
Not adult in terms of sexual, but adult in terms of like just real life crap. I'm like, oh wow, that's real. That's like way too real. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So real, so weird.
All right, Jay. Let's go away.
It's annoying to me that you're going to play Tiny Tina before me, but I will definitely get ahead of you. Which I'm not. It's obviously not a competition. I'm not saying this to like jab at you at any point. I'm just saying that I love that we even get to experience this together. You know.
At the same time, roughly.
Yeah, it's so nice for us to do Borderlands just together. You know. At roughly the same time, because I feel like we did. I can't even remember if we did Borderlands 3 at roughly the same time. I can't remember.
Oh, well, I played it on launch, so I guess we did. But you're on PlayStation, maybe. I was on Xbox.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Actually, before we go, Jay, go on. Sorry.
No, you're good. That wasn't important.
I was just going to ask: do you think Borderlands 3 writing was bad at the time?
Oh wow, yeah, I definitely spoke about this on the podcast. That's actually the one thing I'm a little bit worried about Tiny Tina is that the writing is going to be similar to Borderlands 3. Because there was aspects of it where I was like, oh. You know, but I feel like the only good thing about Tiny Tina is her backstory is like kind of insanely good and is actually like really emotionally invested. If you're a Borderlands fan, Tiny Tina is like one of the most important characters in that game.
Oh, 100%.
Like alongside the fact that she is just like a massive fan of Roland. Like her and Roland were like so close, and then being a 13-year-old girl having to deal with the death of like your best friend is kind of like basically what that entire DLC is about. So, and pretty much what this entire game is going to be about. So, it'd be interesting to see where they take that. Honestly, and what they do. I mean, they already fleshed out so much in the DLC, so I'm interested to see how much they do in this.
All right, Jay. Let's boot you out. We'll see you all next week.
There'll be a lot to talk about next week. Holy crap, there'll be a lot to talk about.
The shows will go out when they go out, guys.
Dude, take your time. You had COVID. Like, we don't expect the world out of you. You know.
That's true. I appreciate.
Nobody can expect that much out of someone who's been ill with that recently. So.
That's true.
Take your time.
Actually, Jay, yeah, we should clarify. I do think we're going to try and do a Wildlands special because we're both playing it. So.
Yeah, do we do it next week or do we do it separate to the podcast? Because I'm going to be off, obviously, so we can do it separate from the podcast. Do we do it?
Should we talk about it off air?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sure.
I don't mind.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after. It'll be fine.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Look forward to that, though, guys.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Peace.
Peace.